everybody, it's Megan here, the Healing Foods Coach, and I'm so thankful to be with you guys today. It is Thursday, September the 5th, and I hope you're doing well. And if you're not feeling well, I hope you feel better soon. So a quick topic today, or a quick video today, if I may. And I want to talk about how reality can become fulfilled possibilities on an animal-based diet. What does that mean? Well, first, before I jump into today's topic, let me just remind you guys that I do have some spots available in my fall session with my coaching. And if you book now, you can save a bit of money when you buy multi follow-up weeks at a time. All the details are on the website, www.healingfoodscoach.com. If you're looking for one-to-one coaching and support, I would love to help you. So please check out the site and get in touch. Book a session or several. Right, so today's topic, I've entitled this An Animal-Based Diet Where Reality Meets Possibility. What am I meaning? Well, before I started on this pathway to being healed and healthy, my reality was chronic pain, chronic inflammation, chronic brain fog, excruciating pain, debilitating anxiety, depression, bulimia, IBS, and being stuck in a wheelchair for years, almost 9 to be exact. That was my reality. And I didn't see any possibilities for something better. I didn't see any possibilities for any way out of what was my reality. And looking back, if I'd known about an animal-based diet, about in my case, full carnivore, if I'd tried it sooner, I probably would have healed a lot quicker. But I didn't. And I don't regret that, because I appreciate so much more what I experience now, because I did go through those years where I was stuck needing a wheelchair to get around, where I was stuck using crutches around the house, where I had a care worker come in 5 mornings a week to help me shower and bathe and get dressed because I was in so much pain, where I had to give up driving. I had to give up my license. I had to stop working because the brain fog and the pain was just too much. And so I try to look at every experience, even the negative ones, as being used for something positive. And I can appreciate now so much better other people who suffer with either fibromyalgia or another chronic condition, another chronic source of pain, another chronic illness of some kind, whether it's an autoimmune or something else. I can appreciate so much more where they come from and how they're feeling and how their reality feels prison-like, because I was in one myself for a very long time before I found my way to carnivore and this great space of community and support people all over. But my reality never felt like there was possibilities in it. Nothing was possible. I couldn't go anywhere fun I couldn't go on hiking trips. I couldn't camp. I couldn't go swimming. Couldn't even take simple walks with my husband, because everything else in my reality then was pain, agony, loss of mobility, depression, anxiety, brain fog, all of it. And it kept me from living my life fully. It kept me from feeling like my full potential self. I didn't see the world for the possibilities. I only saw everything from the view of what was in my reality at that time: chronic pain, inflammation, and mental and physical suffering. That was what I knew. That was all I knew. And I didn't know at the time, although I do know now, but I didn't know then, that a big factor in what was keeping me there was the chronic inflammation and pain I suffered because of the garbage I was putting in my body, because I was constantly bloated. My gut was a mess. My IBS was out of control. Everything sort of added up on top of itself. I had an underactive thyroid, and by constantly eating loads and loads of fruit and also sugary processed junk food and treats and baked goods, not only was I not doing my liver any favors. Not only were my triglycerides spiking, not only was I continuing to put on weight because my thyroid was underactive, but I was doing it even faster because I was eating all this processed junk. I wasn't nourishing my body. I was undernourished. I was underfed. I was eating, but I wasn't really getting anything out of what I ate. It was all processed, carby stuff. And that wasn't nourishing me. It's no wonder I had such struggles with mental health, with specifically, in particular, anxiety, bouts of depression, struggling with bulimia, of feeling that my life would go nowhere and I was not, it was worthless, and what was the point of trying to do anything? That was my reality. Until the pain of not changing was worse than the pain of staying where I was. And that day came in about May 20th of 2020. And I realized whatever was happening in the world with COVID and everything else, I had to find a way to start taking better care of myself. I didn't quite know what that meant at that point. But I knew one thing for sure. I was carrying an excess 100 pounds on my body that I did not need and that were not doing me favors, and I needed to get rid of it. And I knew I couldn't work out because of the pain and the fact I was in a wheelchair. And so, as I've shared before, I remember hearing about keto years before from my sister-in-law. She had success with it. I looked it up, started keto. And let me just say, there is nothing wrong with keto. Keto is an incredibly amazing, helpful, effective protocol for a lot of people. But what I came to realize is that I can't do keto because I have lactose intolerance. And with my IBS and my gut issues, I cannot do plants of any kind. It makes my IBS absolutely horrible. And so after 2 weeks of doing keto, I realized I had to get rid of the plants. I started to slowly get rid of the dairy, although I dabbled back and forth here and there over time. Every time realizing that, yeah, no, the cheese was not a good idea, or no, I really can't do coffee with milk in it. I have to get rid of dairy because I really am intolerant to lactose. And as much as I might enjoy it, it is not doing me any favors. So I have finally cut out all the dairy in my life other than butter. Okay, because it doesn't have lactose in it based on how it's made, because of the process it goes through. Butter I can have to my heart's content. Milk and other dairy products I cannot have, and I don't now. And I finally broke up with them for good back in July of this year. Finally. Now, I started to find great improvement. Imagine my surprise when I actually started to lose weight going carnivore. I think I lost 7 pounds in 1 week, and that was miraculous to me. I'd never lost more than 2 pounds in a week's time of restricting, binging, and purging ever in my life. Ever have I lost that much weight, ever at once. Ever. And I knew most of it was water weight, but didn't matter. It was a small victory, and I felt amazing. And for the first time in my life, I actually could see the possibility of this way of eating possibly working. I needed to get rid of the excess weight. It was putting pressure on my joints. It was making my knees hurt constantly and my feet. My fingers were always sore. My feet always felt swollen. I had to get rid of this extra weight. I knew I did. And I got rid of 7 pounds in about a week. Now, that's not necessarily typical. So if you're just starting out on this journey, let me please make that clear. That is not necessarily typical. Okay, you might lose a bunch of water weight at the beginning, and then you might stall, and then you might lose more. I know there's somebody out there who has lost over 100 pounds as well, but it took her several years because of she lost the weight slowly. Many people do. For whatever reason, I started to lose it, and I started to lose it quickly. And for me, that kept me wanting to keep going because I could see that my reality was suddenly looking like it might become a possibility of something else. Okay. I had no illusions at all at that point. I never thought for once I'd ever get out of my chair. I never thought I could be able to come off my medications at all. I thought, okay, I just want to lose weight. I just want to get rid of the extra fat. I want to lose the weight. and start to feel a bit better. That's all I wanted at that point. But boy, by the time August rolled around and I noticed I had a bit less brain fog and my fingers weren't as sore and stiff, my feet didn't feel swollen all the time, I suddenly realized, wait a second, I'm not just losing weight here and excess fluids. I'm starting to actually heal a bit. And so my reality that this was forever and it could never get better and there's no way to heal fibromyalgia, you just always have to live with it. You're never going to be able to improve your mobility. If this is where you're at, this is where you're stuck. That's what I was getting from all sorts of different GPs and consultants. And so they're the ones who went to higher education. I trusted them. Why wouldn't I? To be fair, they are not trained in nutrition. And what nutritional advice they would give was based on the very old, outdated, outmoded food pyramids, which those of us in the space know is a load of hoo-ha and is not worth the paper it's written on. Okay? But that's what they teach because that's what was mandated by the government and that's what they have to teach, whether it's true or it isn't. But the magic I felt when I started to see the weight come off, I think I had several days where I was filled with tears of joy. I couldn't believe it. You know, by the end of August, I was down 35 pounds. 35 pounds. After only doing this since mid-June. It was unbelievable to me. And my reality of always being depressed and anxious and never being able to get out of my situation, I started to see possibility. Now, I did not start walking at that point. I was still very sore. I still had inflammation. I was still healing. But I had little victories. I could carry on conversations and actually remember them 10 minutes later. My recall started to come back and my short-term memory started to improve. I started to get my mind back. And I still carried on taking my medications because I thought, well, I had them for a reason. And I still had moments of depression and anxiety. Those didn't just magically disappear. However, I realized that maybe in the future that could change. So my reality started to shift about what was possible. And now here I am 4 years later. I'm a year and a half medication free. No thyroid medications, no statins at all. Nothing for my, I had underactive thyroid. I had fatty liver disease. I was put on statins because of my cholesterol levels. Everything is pristine. I'm off those medications. No medication at all for the fibromyalgia because I've not had fibromyalgia pain now in over a year of any kind. The usual soreness that comes when we work our bodies, when we move and we stretch and our muscles are shifting and stretching and reshaping themselves. The normal soreness, I get that. I'm doing 4 miles every single morning, plus another 2 to 4 miles throughout the day with the dogs or just running errands. I never thought I would reach that point. That was absolutely no way at all in my reality, nor did I think it was ever a possibility. I just remember thinking in March of 2023, I was tired of being in a chair. I was tired of having to be pushed everywhere. I was tired of having to take it on holidays. I wanted to reach a point where I could get up and walk. And my husband and I, when we went on our little, week getaways or just a weekend together, I could walk where I wanted. I could explore. I didn't have to rely on someone else pushing me in the manual chair or using my electric one to get around town. I was tired of being in that position, and I knew I'd not suffered permanent damage to my back. I didn't have any nerve damage or any paralysis, that my legs worked fine. I had to get out of my own head and accept the fact that they could work. And you know what? The only way that happened for me was by clearing out all of the fog and all of the emotional ups and downs and all the inflammation from the garbage I was eating. When I started eating an animal-based diet, sticking with animal fats and proteins every day, what I accepted as my reality began to shift because I could see the possibility of what could be. In March of last year, I was tired of having to be in the chair. I wanted to be mobile. And the pain of being stuck in the chair always and not trying was now finally greater than the pain. You know what I mean? Like the pain of not trying was greater than the pain of trying and maybe having it not work. And that's the point I had to get to. I had to shift my reality and see that new possibilities were an option. And I'm so glad of that. And I definitely could not have done that if I'd kept eating the way I was eating. I never would have gotten rid of the weight or the inflammation or the brain fog or any of it. Because sugars and processed seed oils and crap all play a part in that. They are a huge factor, if not the biggest factor in things like brain fog, dementia in older people, forgetfulness, memory loss. A lot of that is caused by, or at least accelerated by, all the intake of processed crap we put in our bodies. Never mind the damage we're doing to our insides, that catches up with us. And yet here I am with a different reality, seeing new possibilities all the time. And I understand you may not be there just yet, but I hope that you can at least be excited, because whatever your current reality is, there are some great possibilities as to what your future could become simply by changing your diet. I am not going to promise you that you're going to wake up, if you're paralyzed, you won't be paralyzed. I can't promise that. I would never promise that. Okay. But if you are not paralyzed, but you suffered with chronic pain and inflammation like I did, with severe, like I was told by the specialist, I had the most extreme form of fibromyalgia of the people that they've seen, where I needed to very quickly, within the first 6 months of being diagnosed, I went from using crutches to having to be pushed in a wheelchair because it hurt that badly. Okay. That's how progressive it was for me. And if you're in that position, even if you're in just so much pain, you barely get out of bed, you can hardly get off the sofa. I've been there. I get it. And it sucks and it's horrible. And in that moment, you don't necessarily want to think outside your immediate reality, because it's hard. Because we often, especially those of us who have fibromyalgia or chronic pain, we try a multitude of different things to try to ease our suffering. We try things like hydrotherapy or physiotherapy or occupational therapy with very limited short-term results, if at all. We are often put on different types of medication that is supposed to help alleviate the pain or be nerve blockers, and often do almost nothing. But if we come off them, then our pain just gets amplified. So they don't really help. They sort of keep it at a dull ache, if you will, chronic dull ache. But it would be that much worse without. And I lived with that. I lived with that for 6 years at the worst of it. And then 3 years on carnivore, as it sort of eased up little by little by little by little, until I eventually was able to wean off all my medications. And I wanted to share that because, first of all, I've said this, I say this in all my videos because it's true, and I will state it again here. The reason that I'm so grateful for the animal-based diet, for being a carnivore, is because God allowed me to find that pathway. I believe fully that his plan is for us to enjoy and eat the animals he created to nourish our bodies, because animal sources of food are the most bioavailable and the easiest for humans to eat, digest, absorb, and make use of. Plants are not. Okay? And so, yes, we can eat some plants, some of us, and do all right, perhaps even feel pretty good. But I don't think we were ever meant to eat plants entirely for long periods of time for the whole of our lives. The plants were there to feed the animals to then feed us. I think that's part of God's overall plan, personally. Now, I am super grateful because God allowed me to remember about keto through my sister-in-law, which then, of course, brought me to carnivore. And that is where I've been healing. So God is healing me through an animal-based diet. He is healing me through this wave eating. And that is my gratitude. At the end of the day, bottom line, my gratitude is the fact that God, our creator, the great guy above, who created our bodies and designed us in such an amazing way that we can often heal ourselves of most of our conditions if we nourish ourselves properly. Shocking, right? And we may need to have medication for a time. And as we heal, we can, like antibiotics, for example, you only take them for like 10 days. You don't take them forever. It kills off the bacteria, and then our bodies recover once it's out of our system, and we carry on. And I think that's definitely what God wants for us as well. But my point being more that I was finally able to see past my immediate reality to the possibility of what it could be. And as long as I was looking forward to that possibility, that allowed me to actually change my reality. And that is what I find to be probably one of the most powerful things about following an animal-based diet. Wherever you are at in your health journey, wherever you're at, you could be like me, brain fog, pain, lack of mobility, depression, anxiety, IBS, eating disorders, or disordered eating, whatever it is. You could be like I was. You could be like my good friend DC, Learning to Live, who was diagnosed with blood cancer more than once. And yet he is now thriving. Why? Because he changed what he ate. He nourished his body, and now it's healing itself. And so I think wherever we are at in life, wherever we are at, when we eat the things that can truly nourish and help our bodies heal and repair, our realities can change, but we can also see greater possibilities of what our lives could be. Because we're not emotional roller coaster rides every day. We're not struggling with brain fog and forgetfulness or memory loss or constant ups and downs. We are not dealing with anxiety that cripples us from making any decisions or taking any actions, because our brains are not inflamed. Our bodies are not inflamed. We are nourishing them, healing them. And yes, it will take time, and it will not happen instantly. And anyone who says it does, by the way, they're not telling you the full truth. You probably don't want to listen to them. But within a couple of days of going keto and then again to carnivore, I already noticed much more energy and just an overall better feeling in myself. Didn't change anything I was dealing with medically, but I felt better. So that can change quickly. But the actual healing, it'll take time. Depends on what kind of damage your body's going through or has been through and how long it's been happening for. But the animal-based diet that God led me to has helped me to see the possibility of what can come and also change my present reality. So now my current reality is I get up every morning, I walk 4 miles. Just me, just my time to think and meditate and spend time, with God and pray and just enjoy nature. I do that every morning. And then another couple miles with my husband and I walk the dogs. And then another couple miles probably later in the day as I go in and out of town, get coffee, run errands, whatever. But I'm usually walking at least 6 miles every single day. Every day. After being in a wheelchair for 9 years, my reality has changed. And it was God who helped me see the possibility through the healing he'd already provided me, if that makes sense. Okay? And again, you guys, some of you may believe in a different God or not a God at all, but let's think of it this way. Whether you believe in the God that I do or not, and that's totally fine. Okay? Still love hearing from you guys. Of course, that's fine. That's your choice. Absolutely. Whether you believe in the God that I do or not, that's okay. But what I would say is, regardless of whether you do or not, when you start healing your body and eating an animal-based diet, a human species appropriate diet, you will start to find healing. And you will find that you can start seeing more possibilities, more possible positive outcomes for your life than where you are at the moment. And as you look forward to those possibilities becoming real, your reality changes. And it's a beautiful thing. So that was my topic for today. I know it's a little bit longer. You know me, guys. Sometimes I run over a bit. Thank you for your patience, and thank you for staying with me to the end. Thank you, as always, for all of your amazing support, kind words, love, and encouragement. I super appreciate hearing from every single one of you guys. It is honestly an honor and a pleasure to hear from you guys. So obviously I'll be back with more content tomorrow. Try to do it daily. And reminding you that Rose, AJ, and I are going to be teaming up again September the 29th, 8:30 p.m. here in the UK, 12:30 Pacific Standard Time. I will give you guys reminders closer to the date and time. Thank you guys for everything. And again, if you are looking to get some one-to-one coaching, go to my website now. I still have some spaces available for the fall session. Love to work with you guys. Thank you for everything. Appreciate you guys. See you in the next video. Probably won't be quite this long. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.